Hey guys, AJ with Relentless Racing. Welcome back to the channel. I'm super excited to share with you guys what I've been working on. I helped develop the PCI Slider for the Toyota MR2 SW20. Let's go! So how tall are you again, Matt?
5'11".
5'11"?
Yes.
And the seat's all the way back, right?
No.
The seat isn't all the way back.
Oh, it is. It is all.
It is all the way back? Is that the way you normally sit?
No, that's where I sit. I like to be a little bit close.
A little bit closer?
That's perfect.
Let's see, how much headroom do we have in here?
About 2 inches.
So when you're driving in here, when you have your helmet on,
yeah,
what does it feel like? Can you touch the top of the roof?
If I really tried.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
But it never does.
Never does?
No.
And you're 5'11".
Correct.
Okay, thanks. Okay guys, we're gonna measure the OEM stuff so that way we can compare to the PCI Slider. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the steering wheel, I'm gonna adjust it all the way down, and then I'm gonna take the seat, I'm gonna push it all the way back, and then I'm gonna click this guy, and then I'm gonna one click back, the first click. Now I can measure horizontally from here back to here, and then I'm going to measure vertically 4 inches from this little crease right here up, and then all the way up to the top. So let's just measure this thing real quick. So that looks horizontal to me. That is approximately 23 inches, and then we're going to do it again 4 inches from this little crease right here. So that's right about here, and let's go all the way up. That is 36 inches. 36 inches is the headroom on this guy. So removing the factory seat's pretty simple. There is a Phillips head right in here. Also underneath this guy, there is a little plastic screw. Use a flathead to unscrew that, and that'll take this thing off. And then this thing kind of comes out of the way, and look, you have access to your 14 millimeter right there. And then we're gonna pull this guy off real quick. It just snaps off real quickly. And then once you remove the little clip, there's a 14 millimeter under there. Once you remove the two 14 millimeters, you could slide this guy forward and grab the two 14 millimeters in the back. Don't forget the third 14 millimeter on the tranny tunnel. With all 4 bolts released, slide the seat all the way back, and if you lift it up, there should be a wire down there, and you need to disconnect that before you pull the seat out. Okay, let's check out what's in the box. This is direct from PCI, and this is the new PCI Slider that I helped develop for the SW20. So within the box, you've got the sliders. This is the little adjustment bar. 2 side mounts. Oh, what's in this one? I don't even know what's in here. Oh, I know what this is. This is the optional submarine mount for the harness, which is kind of cool. I really like this. I'll show you guys how that works a little bit later. And then you get badges right here, and you also get these nylon spacers, if you will, for the seats. I'll show you how to mount these guys. This is there's a particular way to mount the seat so that it can go even lower, and you could also adjust it left to right. And then you've got some, these are mounts for an OEM seatbelt mount. Here's some more hardware for the sliders, and this is more hardware for the sliders as well. I'll show you guys how to use that. And then down underneath here is the actual seat base mount. This guy is fabricated via CAD, CNC cut, or actually laser cut and CNC bent, which is pretty cool. So this is the base plate, and it is 3 millimeters thick. It's all steel, and obviously it's powder coated wrinkle finish black. Pretty badass.
Putting together the PCI slider is pretty simple. In fact, check out the video link in the description. Here's a quick time lapse of it though.
This is the factory buckle right here, and you can see that there is a bolt and a nut hanging onto this guy. And so what we did was we have an allocation for this particular buckle on the PCI slider as well. So check this thing out. Here's a little bracket just for that OEM seatbelt buckle bracket. What you can use these for, it's for this attachment here for the factory belt, if you're using it. Again, if you're using a race bucket in this guy, you really should be using a 5 or 6 point harness. In here are PCI badges. You see the PCI badges. So there's some really tiny bolts in here. Here are the really tiny bolts in here. Can you see them? And those go on the sides right here. You can attach the badge right to here and bolt it in. It already has threads on there. I've heard in the past that people have had issues with this guy, and the key is that this guy, this and this, have to be parallel into these guys right here. So look how wide it is. They need to fit in here. So what Brian's doing right here is he's adjusting this thing so the ends are parallel, and then he checks the distance and just make sure it matches what we have underneath the seat based on where we put the sliders. You want these two ends right here, this end and that end, to be parallel. That way it works properly. Now he's just going to do a quick measure, make sure we match where we have the sliders.
And see, that's not too parallel, so we're going to bend that in a hair.
Yeah.
And then pretty easy. Kind of eyeball.
Brian eyeballs nothing, he measures everything.
Yeah, I mean, once you squeeze it, it'll be parallel. So it's going to be slightly like off when it's open, and then when you squeeze it into the slider, it should be pretty close.
There we go. Let's go check it out. Now Brian's going to check the measurement real quick.
Perfect. So right now we're about a half inch wide. So then that gives us a little bit of pre-wet on there. And then we need that mallet.
Did you put it back in the drawer?
Yeah.
So you line these holes up, and they shouldn't fit. You got to hit it with a mallet to make sure it pops in there. Let me go grab one. Give it a little whack, and then she drops in.
Make sure the hole's lined up there.
Yeah. And you can see what that looks like right there. Holes are lined up.
So it could have gotten a little more bend in that way, but we're pretty good. You just want to have good engagement in that, into that hole right there. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Looks good. This is what the structure looks like underneath the actual slider. So your side mounts, and then you have a slider down here, and then your base mount. You can see the 4 bolts right there. There's number 2, number 3, and number 4. I put this little plate back on here. This is the factory plate. You could still, that still goes on just fine. And this is the optional submarine harness mount. And you could check that out on the website. And I didn't put on the PCI pieces on here, but eventually you should do that. But check out how nicely this thing slides. You just pull this guy up and it slides all the way back, just like factory. And there's, you know, I measured everything for you guys so you guys can see exactly how far back the seat goes. There's quite a bit more room now. And also there's additional headroom as well. It looks like there's about an inch worth of headroom. If you want more headroom, you could also take out the bottom of the seat cushion, depending upon the seat that you have. In addition, you can even have more headroom if you space these guys out. So push this thing this way, push that thing all the way that way, and use the spacers, and that'll allow the seat to fit in between the sliders here and here, and that'll drop the seat even lower. So now, I'm going to want to make sure that this thing is all the way down. It's all the way down. And I'm going to take this thing all the way back. And we just put in the PCI slider. And this is a Sparco Evo, which is a medium. And then we'll do the exact same measurements again. To the center, right over here. And it looks like 27 inches. And then let's look at our headroom. The headroom is 4 inches from the back, be right here, go all the way to the top. That looks like 37 inches is what it is. You're 5'11",
Yes, sir.
and you don't have the seat all the way back, right?
I don't.
So I want you to take the seat all the way back and show me how far back that thing goes. So we gained quite a bit of inches right there. Now, are you comfortable driving that position? It's too far out, right?
Too far.
And then let's take a look at his head up there. So there's quite a bit of headroom up in there.
It feels like a good inch or two.
Nice.
What it was before.
A good inch to even more than that, right? So you clicked it up at least 1 or 2 right there to get it to fit, right? Awesome. And again, that's the Sparco Evo, and that is the medium. What size is your waist, Matt?
33 or 4.
33 or 34. So you're right there for a medium or a small, but I typically fit into a Sparco circuit and I run a medium. That's my passenger seat out of my MRS actually. Pretty cool. This is the PCI Slider, and it's a really nice piece. I'm really impressed with it. What do you think, Matt?
I think it's amazing, man.
You think it's amazing?
Yeah, it is. It's actually, the build quality seems really substantial, and it feels really good when you sit in it, so I have no complaints.
That's Matt, 5'11". What's up? All right, guys, this is AJ with Relentless Racing. Stay relentless, and I'll see you on the track.